Welcome, everybody. Great to see you in the chat. Hello to all the members over there in green in the chat. Welcome, 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 welcome. I'm Natalie. This is Scientology Life After a Cult, where we talk about the Scientology news that has the internet buzzing. We talk about my 35 years in this cult and leaving with 3 generations of my family. Throughout the week, I do other videos and interviews in around the community. So when you hit the subscribe button, make sure you also hit that notification bell. So hopefully you get some notifications when I go live. I want to thank the moderators here today. We've got Nancy is here, and as I scroll and I scroll, Nancy, is it just us, right? No, Dip. Hey, Dip Me and Glitter's here, and I'm scrolling and I'm scrolling. If anybody jumps in as well as a mod, thank you so much for being here. You guys are absolutely amazing. Okay, people, hold on to your seats. It is going to get real. We have some fun stuff today, including we're going to take a little look at some Scientology gems. I don't know if you've heard, they've released something new, and I think we are going to have something to say about it. Hey, are you gelling? Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, we are going to get to that. I could not believe my eyes. I could not. You'd think I wouldn't be shocked anymore, right? Oh, Natalie, you were in that cult for 35 years. You've been out for 14. What could possibly surprise you? Girl. Wait till you see. I will show you. I will show you in a moment. All right. Right now, though, here's what we're doing. Here is what we're doing. Hold on. I just want to move something over here and make this a little more easy for me as a left-handed individual. Okay. First, though, do you guys watch Arrested Development? You ever watch that? Oh, I love that show. Jeffrey Tambor is an actor who's in it. He plays the dad. Anybody watch it? Tell me in the chat. Tell me in the comments if you're catching this on the replay. You know the rule, no slacking, getting those comments. Anywho, I remember back in the day, I want to say it was probably, my son was already born. So maybe it was like 99. Between 99 and 2005, that much I know. I saw Jeffrey Tambor at Celebrity Center at the Manor Hotel back then. And I thought, oh, I didn't know he was doing Scientology. Of course, I was a Scientologist then. And I knew that he didn't continue, but I never knew why until now. Check this out, you guys. This is from Facts Verse, which is here on YouTube. And they did a video on top celebrity Scientologists and 9 celebrities who left the church for good. And Jeffrey's one of them. Listen to this.
Jeffrey Tambor. The acclaimed actor Jeffrey Tambor, known for iconic roles on Arrested Development and Transparent, had a relatively brief involvement with Scientology compared to other stars. However, it was impactful enough that he cited it as a key factor in the breakup of his second marriage. In interviews in the 2010s, Tambor revealed he had studied Scientology teachings and had taken some church classes. However, he rejected any notion that he was ever fully dedicated or reached upper levels within the church's tradition. By his own admission, in his 2017 memoir, Are You Anybody?, his relatively fleeting experience with Scientology abruptly ended when church officials allegedly pressured him to leave his second wife, Kasia Oslund, whom he married in 2001. Upset by this attempt at dictating his personal life, Tambor quickly cut ties with all Scientology activities and course involvement. He stated he no longer practiced and was not involved with the religion after that experience.
Good for him. They tried to split up a marriage and he was like, hell no, unlike Tom Cruise. Yeah. Always interesting to me. What are the things? Sometimes there's multiple things that get somebody to leave Scientology. Sometimes it's one big thing. Sometimes it's just the last layer of the cake, right? The whole house of cards comes down. Always interesting to hear. Now, did you guys see LAURI Plays, who's over in Clearwater? We often see on her stream. She's out there protesting Scientology in the belly of the beast in Clearwater itself, where the top and the upper levels, you guys, the confidential levels, only place in the world some of them can be delivered is in Clearwater at the Flagland base. Superpower. They have a giant building that's empty, dedicated to delivering services that fall under superpower. I heard one involves running around a phone pole or a pole of sorts. It's like a whole thing. Anyways, LAURI Plays is out there, but she sat down and she did a fascinating video with Carrie, who you're going to meet. We featured one of Carrie's video because she is, I do believe she's an attorney, and she has been really digging into Florida's human trafficking law and what that has to do with Scientology. This is a fantastic video. Links down below to all of the videos that we're going to be talking about and highlighting. And I recommend you go check them out in their full, because we just do a little taste. We dip a toe. And some of this, you want a full blown jump into it. Let's take a look at this.
It could be, if you're asking in terms of, fundamental public policy, to just off the top of my head, is modern human slavery. There is no public policy permitting modern human slavery. So if there is a religious practice, and this is part of what I think Scientology's fundamental problem is, their human trafficking, the way that it's all structured within their religion, all those policy letters, all those, executive orders, everything that LRH wrote and everything that came down from RTC since then, tends to show that their structure and function can't happen without a level of human trafficking.
Yes, when your religious practices outright involve human trafficking, you might want to be rethinking some things, but that is the whole problem. And we're going to get more into this later on in the video. Be prepared to just be shocked and appalled. Shocked and appalled. I think that's going to be the theme today. Shocked and appalled. We're going to take a look again at, I keep sharing tidbits from this video that Phil Jones and his wife did. She was right next to him, and she chimes in sometimes, because there are such gems in there that it's fantastic. And we're going to look at another one where they talk about Scientology front group Mace Kingsley auditing children as young as 2 years old. We know that they actually audit babies, but this specifically, they were talking about children and how Mace Kingsley wanted to do this with their children. We do know, if you're familiar with the story of Phil Jones and his wife, Willie, their children were completely taken by Scientology, by the Sea Org, cut ties with their parents. It's a tragic story where they have not heard from them in about a decade. But this is specific to Mace Kingsley and how that front group goes after children with Scientology auditing.
There was an organization, Mace Kingsley, in Clearwater, Florida, and they dealt with children. But we never really had any contact with them. They wanted to. I think they wanted to audit one of our kids, and we didn't do it. So
they were auditing children as young as 2 years old.
Yeah, Mace Kingsley was auditing children as young as 2 years old.
It's just crazy. It's interesting because when I was in Scientology, honestly, I'll tell you the truth, I didn't see anything wrong with that. I was raised in Scientology. It's what we did. You started auditing children from a young age. We believed that it was something that was helpful. That's why Mace Kingsley exists. Mace Kingsley is a Scientology front group that they're mainly focused on the children, the second and third generation Scientologists, to make sure that those kids are being indoctrinated, just in case the parents aren't doing a good job of indoctrinating their children into Scientology. There are multiple Scientology schools and front groups that will indoctrinate your children for you. You can even send them. Used to be ones where you could send them away, like camp, for some good old Scientology indoctrination. Wasn't a thing like camp, but that's pretty much what happened. That's what was going on there. Hey, Lou Repetto, I saw you in there flying by in the chat. Good to see you here. All right, here. Lou, I actually just started a video of yours earlier. I need to go finish it. I saw your recent video, watching it still. Let's go take a look at L1 Hubbard Way, where Leah and Danny were. Leah and Danny are out there. This is from Danny's Impact. That's his stream. They were told that, okay, here's the deal. Scientology went and shut down the street they have this 9-day event where they're going after children. I think it's called Kids Fest or something. And they have this permit for 9 days. That's ridiculous, except they shut everything down early. We're going to look at that. We got some D.O.A. clips coming up about that. And they were told, yeah, you can't stop. You have to just keep moving. So Danny and Leah decided to just get to marching in front of Scientology there. Now I have the music muted because it's the ants go marching one by one. So if you know that song, please sing along in your head or out loud, because yeah, I wasn't sure if it was copyrighted, so I muted it. But sing along in your head. The ants go marching one by one, hurrah. You know that one? Here we go. They had the music playing. That's Leah. So they're just marching back and forth. No one's slowing down here. No one's stopping. We're moving. We're moving. We're marching just like ants, one by one, one by one. I love that they bring the humor, and you just have to sometimes because it's such a serious subject. Human trafficking van going by there, taking Scientologists less than a block away in the van. They just keep going. Just love it. Danny and Leah doing their thing out there, out in Los Angeles. Now, also on L1 Hubbard Way, speaking of D.O.A., let's look at a couple of videos. One where he's out there in Scientology. There is something called bull baiting, which a lot of you probably know about. It's a drill done in Scientology. When you pass being able to sit across from each other and look into each other's eyes nonstop for 2 hours, this is what it's like at the professional Scientologist level. You sit across from somebody, hands in lap. You do not move. You do not itch. You do not twitch. You do not look away. You do not yawn. You do nothing but look into that person's eyes for 2 hours and be there in present time. And when you can be there comfortably and confront like that for 2 hours, you move on. And you move on to what's called bull baiting, where people can say whatever they want to you to flatten your buttons. They're trying to find your buttons and then flatten them. I think it's hilarious that D.O.A. is definitely a professional bull baiter, even if he doesn't know it. That's what it would be called in Scientology. But it's interesting to see the Scientology security guard trying to keep in what's called their training routines in Scientology, or their TRs, which is their ability to sit there like a robot and not respond. And we're going to look at a couple clips because they creepily, it's so creepy how they do this and just say the same thing over and over again with the same voice tone. This is all trained. This is all, they're intentionally doing this. Let's take a look.
Get off of the table. It's abandoned property on a public sidewalk.
Get off the property. Yeah, I'd say the law's on DOA side on this one.
It is on
Get
public
off the property.
property with a soft closure.
Right, you need to keep
Right.
moving at soft
You
closure.
need to keep moving on a soft
You need to
closure.
keep
It's
moving on a
abandoned
soft
property.
You have to keep
On a
moving.
public sidewalk.
You need to keep walking in the soft closure. I'll keep moving. Continue moving.
If you keep moving, you're on a
I'm moving. I'm moving. Look, I'm moving. I'm moving. I'm moving. I'm moving. I'm moving. Right there. Wah, wah. Wah. Wah, wah. Wah, wah. Oh, you're parking a.
Hey, hold the phone there. Was that a female security guard?
Oh, you're parking a car in the emergency zone, huh?
Trespassing.
She walked off behind. Can somebody tell me in the chat, or if you're catching it in the comments? I've not seen a female in security in quite some time. Was that a female security guard or just somebody coming in to handle things?
Oh, emergency zone.
Scott, you're trespassing. Yeah.
Could just be someone in a black uniform walking away.
Off the property.
Okay, get off. Wait.
Get off the property. You're trespassing. Get off the property. You're trespassing. Corn, thank you so much for gifting us Scientology Life After Our Cult membership. Hip, hip, hooray. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. What is up with this, right? It you have to keep moving. You can't stay there. It is just the creepiest thing ever. So let's take a look at another clip with this here and pay attention to how the security guards, what they do and how they communicate.
You to stop all.
Or I should say, don't communicate. And there's some good bull baiting going on here on DOA's part. And let's see how well Scientology security can keep their training routines in.
I want you to go on the sidewalk.
I want you to grow some hair, but that's never going to happen.
Good. Go on the sidewalk.
Your hair's never going to
trespassing.
grow. Sorry, just like
You're
his.
trespassing.
Let's look at his hair.
So you're
Let's
trespassing.
look at his hair.
You're trespassing. Get off the
Look
street.
at that hair.
You notice too how he's using the bike. He'll put the bike between him and DOA.
Get off the
Yeah.
street, Scott. You're trespassing.
You got that little
Scott, get off the street. You're
You can
trespassing.
do it right there.
You're trespassing,
Look at
Scott.
that.
Get off
That's
the street.
awesome.
Street's closed. Get off the street.
You're trespassing. Get off the street.
Get off the street, Scott.
Just want you to grow some hair, buddy.
Get off the street.
Just please grow some hair.
Get off the street.
Get some hair.
Get
Hair
trespassing.
implants are cheap, man. Just try it out. This guy, look at this guy. He's got his little hairs are popping
Get
out
off the
of his little
permitted
chin.
area, Scott. Get off the street, trespassing.
Now, this guy I would actually flunk on his TRs because you can hear there's a little bit more of a frustration in there. He's almost a little apathetic, like, oh, Get off the street, Scott. You're trespassing. No, it should be get off the street, Scott. You're trespassing. A little bit more robot. You know, he's got to really kind of channel that robot. Get off the street. You're trespassing. This is my bike. Let's see. Is that all we got on that one?
We're asking you to leave the permitted area. Leave the permitted area.
See, and that guy too, the one, I don't know if he's hired security. If he's a Sea Org member, he needs to, you know what? We got to wake up Osa. Osa, wake up. You got to see this one. This guy is doing it wrong. Oh, okay. So CB's saying he's not a Scientology security guard. You see how you can see the differences in how Scientology security is trained to behave and act versus outside security or other people? Yeah, it's creepy. Get off the street, Scott. Get off the street. You're can't even do it with a straight face. Okay, I think I didn't pull that last bit of that video up, but anyways, you get the point though. Get off the street. Get off the street, Scott. Okay, let's look at another one where D.O.A. brings up like the safety issues here. Where's the fire lane? Where's this? Where's that? What's happening?
You know, they're misrepresenting what the permit is actually reading, and then trying to force that upon us from not being able to freely move on the public property, and to limit and suppress our right to peacefully protest is what's happening. And they're not, and on top of that, they don't have a 15-foot fire lane. So all these people here in all these residential houses, there is no access. If the fire breaks out and the fire truck needs to come through, they have no way to get through this. No, I know. We're in contact with them. That's why I'm so familiar with the permit. Also, 51% of the neighborhood has to approve of it, and it has to be open for public discussion.
Yep, he brings up some good points there. Seeing Scientology security in action, though, it really is. They're so consistent in how they use Scientology. It really is something to behold. And I give them credit. I would have just started laughing about some of those comments, even if I was on their end. Then I would have gotten in trouble. And let's talk about what would happen if they broke character. If they break character, they're going to go to what Scientology calls cramming. Scientology cramming. Every Scientology organization has a division within it to correct its staff members. When you fail to do your job, when you fail to achieve the product of your job, you fail in some ways, you fall short in the eyes of Scientology. You go to cramming and you get re-drilled and retrained and re-indoctrinated on where you failed, where you fell down. So what they're going to do is they're going to actually drill the security guards on handling D.O.A. So they're going to come up with scenarios to practice of what if this is if they break character as security, as Scientology security, and they're going to practice it over and over again to make sure they don't have any buttons on it so they can go out and do it again. It's all part of the training and the re-indoctrination. It is something. It really is. Jen Nelson, thank you so much. Oh, and you're left-handed. That's awesome. Lefties rock. Yes, I believe so. I believe so. Okay. Oh, and I just saw your other comment. I do still do Tonka Talk, but I've been on a hiatus lately just with everything going on. Yeah, I just don't have the bandwidth for it right now, but it's on my radar to get going on again. So thank you for asking though. Yeah, Lily, they can't handle D.O.A. Oh, I would say so. Okay, so let's see, where are we at? Confident Chris is really good at just like he just shows up in the right place at the right time and ways and what he catches on video in his streams. And it's always interesting to have a little bit of a look behind the curtain, literally, of the Sea organization. We know that they live in dorms. If you're not married, if you're fortunate to be able to have your own room, sometimes you share a bathroom. Remember, we're not talking apartments, we're talking room. I had a room with my husband and we shared a bathroom with another couple, but sometimes the curtain gets pulled back and we get a little look into there. And Chris caught that where he was outside Big Blue. Check it out.
Man, you guys brought the skateboards. I don't even know how to skate. Oh, I got the bunk beds. I see something brown over there. Bro, those are bunk beds, bro. Get it quick.
They really are. They get the
You think they'll close it before we get
Hell,
Look at that. I think that might be just a 2 high, 2-bed bunk bed. There are 3. I've heard of 4, but I've only ever seen them 3 high. Can't remember if I've seen a 4 high.
well, I already got it, but run it.
Yeah, I mean,
And this is premium real estate in the C organization. Just so you guys know, if this is your room, use somebody, because one, you're by a window. Look at that. You buy a window that almost never gets to be opened, and you can't really pull. Whoever did this is going to get in massive trouble for it because of this. But it was no doubt hot and stuffy. Can you imagine? Let's talk about this for a minute. Can you imagine living in a dorm with a whole bunch of people and you can't open the windows? And there is no, unless something changed, I don't think there's air conditioning in those buildings. I do not remember that being a thing. Seems like it should be, though. Now I can't remember. My ex-Sea Org friends in the blue buildings, did we have air conditioning? I remember window units. At times, some people would have window units in their room. I don't think that's allowed anymore because how it looks on the outside. But I don't know if I recall. Welcome, by the way, everybody who's coming over from the Mexican Long Hair Raid. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Lovely to have you all here. Thank you so much for that support. Want to remind everyone who's here as well to make sure you, in an orderly fashion, let's all go over to the like button and let's make sure we hit that like button. I appreciate that. And be sure to check your subscribe as well. All right, where are we at? Let's take a look at this. We're going to go over to Chicago. I was just dying. I was dying when I was watching this. Windy City Thetan, one of his, I would say his specialty is shutting down Scientology recruitment. I mean, shutting it down, taking back. They're handing out these propaganda flyers about Scientology. Come see a film, come buy a book. And Windy City Thetan, as you guys know, goes and collects it back and just completely messes with their statistics. They absolutely hate it. And they tried. There was somebody I had not seen before who you'll see, who I'm not sure if he's a staff member because he's not in uniform. He could be a Scientology volunteer, but they try to involve the police. And we're going to see what the police said about it. But first, Lady Victoria, hip, hip, hooray. Thank you for gifting a Scientology Life After a Cult membership. Appreciate that. And good luck to whoever gets it in the chat there. I love when that happens. All right, so let's take a look at this. Again, this is Windy City Thetan in Chicago, in the Windy City itself, shutting down Scientology recruitment.
I still don't want to see any attacks, any derogatory information. Because they're passing out flyers for the cult of Scientology. I'm not following them, I'm following their flyers. They have a First Amendment right to pass out those flyers. I have a First Amendment right to contact everybody they hand them out to. They have a First Amendment right, I have a First Amendment right. Yep. You're in public. You're in public. You're in public. You're in public. Take your flyers home and I won't follow you. Stalking requires an assault. I know the codes, officer. They're a human trafficking cult. I still don't want to see any attacks.
And the police just wanted nothing to do with it. They're like, whatever. Total tattletale. Yes, DT, they're always crying to the police. You gotta keep in mind, Scientologists, they're indoctrinated to believe that they are the saviors of the planet. They are here to safeguard the technology of L. Ron Hubbard. Remember, they put them into vaults, underground and in-mountain vaults, after putting them on these metal discs to preserve them forever. They are keepers. They are guardians of the tech. This is a very serious job, people. So when they're out there trying to save the planet and people are interfering, they feel very emboldened that, hey, I am out here literally trying to save the world. And this dude is following me around and taking back promotional items we're trying to hand out to save people, and then telling that same people that we're a human trafficking cult. Of course, they're not going to like it. But yeah, so that's what happened there. Then he goes around the corner And there is a Scientology recruiter who is trying to recruit a bus driver, a Chicago bus driver, who really quickly learned what was up with Scientology. And I just love the look on her face.
They wouldn't let the women go to the police, and when they do go to the police, they ostracize them from the church. They have he won't tell you anything about the church, so it's Scientology. Oh, that's what this is? Yes. Do you want that? Can I have it? Thank you very much. Go inside. I just don't like that. It looks very innocuous from the outside. It looks very safe, but it's a money-hungry cult.
There's the dude from earlier.
Hey, Anastasia. How you doing tonight? Hey, Chad. Don't forget the shades. Oh, the doorstop's not working.
I just love too how he just always greets them so friendly. Just, hey, Anastasia. I think, speculation, I have nothing to back this up. I think that some of the Scientology staff are like starting to like Windy City Dayton, like trying to kind of getting a kick out of it in a way. Speculation totally on my part. I don't know anything. I'm not there. I'm just saying, because I try to put myself in that mindset. And I don't know. But me, I don't know. I'm an ex-Scientologist. I left. I obviously, didn't do the best job in the 35 years that I was in Scientology. I would have found that really funny. I would have. I know, Eric, I love that. He needs merch that says, do you want that? Can I have it? Thank you very much. I agree. That'd be great. That's actually my favorite part. When he does this and he's like, oh, do you want that? Can I have it? Thank you very much. And then takes the promotional items back, because technically Scientology should be minusing that from their number of promo materials handed out. That is the statistic of the person doing it. They have to keep track for every single one. And I doubt, how much you want to bet, they are not going ahead and minusing those ones from their numbers when they get taken back. I bet. I don't know. Okay, so check this out. He actually comes upon a Scientology recruiter with someone and lets the guy know what's up about Scientology.
Will the church let you talk about the church? Can you talk about the church? See, she can't talk about the church. Look up Lisa McPherson. She died at their hands. Look up Danny Masterson. He raped 3 women. The church would not let them report the rapes. When they did report the rapes, those people were disconnected from their family. You've got to look this stuff up, man.
I don't know if you can hear, but he's asking, is he still in the church? Is Danny still in the church? And then Windy City lets him know, yeah, he's in prison. Did you see too how the guy kind of motioned Windy City like, hey, walk with me. I want to hear this. I bet this guy is going to go and look it up and find out what's up in regard to Scientology. Tara, thank you for gifting 5 Scientology Life After a Cult memberships. Hip, hip, hooray. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, so now Windy City, right? He's got the Scientology recruiters are back in the building. So he hits the streets once again to see what's up, what's happening out there. And what does he find? Scientology propaganda littered along the streets of Chicago. This is what people are doing with Scientology propaganda.
For him. Oh. And another one. It looks like there was multiple routers out today. So these I just picked off the ground right now. For them. Oh.
Love that. Love that. Out there picking it up. Out there getting it all picked up. I mean, honestly, he's doing the city a favor. Somebody's got to go clean that up. So I'm glad that he's doing it. And it is interesting to see. Psych on the Rocks. What would happen if a Scientology laughed at something the protesters said, did? I would have a hard time keeping it together with D.O.A. and Pearl for sure. They will get in trouble for it. There's a thing in Scientology, there's a policy letter. Well, L. Ron Hubbard calls it joking and degrading, or jokers and degraders is the actual name of the policy letter. And that's basically somebody who laughs basically at Scientology or something a Scientologist does. I got hit with that one a lot. That's joking and degrading, because you would laugh at somebody and then the Scientologist would do that. Joking and degrading. And then you'd be like, that's not even a big deal. Like, chill about it. I heard that so many times growing up. Joking and degrading. You're joking and degrading. Nancy, remind me, we should make merch that says joker and degrader. If nothing else for me to wear. I love that. Oh my gosh, that's funny. Exiled New Yorker. Barb, you're on screen. Sorry, I was moved by the spirit, guys. You've been watching, obviously, Errantology. Oh, it's so funny. I laughed so hard. I finally finished the video from the other night with Poe on the Go and Farrell Cheryl and Sarasota Jerry. We'll talk more about that later, but oh gosh, I just laughed so hard. Me and Taz says, I can't save myself some days. Never mind the planet. Sorry, Scientology. Oh, you slacker. They're out saving the planet. This is why they feel so entitled. This is a lot of that entitlement that comes through. Let's see. Cult of One. Natalie, who cleaned the bathroom, or was it rota system? I don't know what rota system is. Like rotation? It depends on the bathroom. People clean their own bathroom. If it was like a community you shared with another couple, or your own bathroom. The regular bathrooms, that's a good question, because in the dorms, I don't know if it's the estates organization or you take turns cleaning it. I'm actually not 100% positive on that one. I do not recall exactly. Okay. Also, just quick reminder, there is a link in the comments to sign a petition to review Scientology's tax-exempt status. There aren't many more signatures that are needed, I believe, for that to qualify for sending it to the powers that be. So do check that out. That's being shared in the chat. Okay, so now let's look at Austin. Pearl Snappy's out there minding her own business, doing her protesting, doing her thing. And there's a guy there. Well, she shares the story. Let's just let her tell it.
This is on me, not on you. I was just standing there, and the man that was on the bench threatened to kill me twice and said that he was going to come back and kill me. He was on the bench. He walked this way. He's still walking. He's walking down the sidewalk. I could see him before that light. He's got a blue shirt on and a khaki pants and a bag over his shoulder. Yeah, or at least talk to him and let him know that he can't come back here threatening me. But yeah, absolutely. I will say right here. Thank you.
So from what I saw, if anybody has an update on this, let us know in the chat or in the comments if you're catching this on the replay. But it sounds like the person, at least from what I saw, was not found, but the police went to go look for him. It sounds like somebody that maybe is struggling with some mental health issues and then threatened to kill Pearl Snappy, which you just can't do that. You just can't do that. I agree. Just crazy. You can't do that. I'm glad she she made law enforcement aware of it, which is what you need to do. If somebody's breaking the law and doing something illegal, that is a great time to involve law enforcement. It is. It is. All right, you guys. Okay. This is where my joking and my degrading comes in. But Scientology has launched this new Let's Better the World. Let's better the world. Let's find out how they're going to better the world, because I know you guys are dying to find out. How is Scientology going to better the world, you ask? Well, let me show you. So they have this new website, Let's Better the World, letsbettertheworld.org. What's it going to take to better the world? Let's start with the right tools and the right PSAs. That's right. Get the right PSAs out. That is what will better the world. So they put together this whole website. It has all these PSAs on it. And I thought, you know what? Let's take a look at this, because if they're promoting human rights, I don't know. Are they turning over a new leaf? So let's take a look. We're going to take a little bit of a closer look at this. We're local and we're global. Yes, we are. It always bothers me when a sentence starts with the word and like that. I know there's a word for it. I forgot what it is. Fail, Natalie. You fail on your grammar. You used to have all this memorized. Anyways, together we can better the world one PSA at a time because every second counts. Every second does count, Scientology. So let's take a little bit of a look at this. Let's take a look at one of these here. We're going to look at a few things. We're going to get into it because Natalie needs an outlet. Okay. Human Rights Television PSAs. This is by Scientology. Okay. This is just another way that they are trying to put these front groups up ahead, and promote that. Oh, we promote human rights. We're good. We're good. It says our PSAs will inform and enlighten your community about the human rights. We're asking that you air them because when more people know their rights and respect the rights of others, the world will be a better place. You can be a major part of making that happen. Okay. Scientology. OSA. I want to be a part of making that happen. So let's see, how can I help? Let's take a look at this one. Okay. So there's this human right here. In fact, the one that really caught my eye, hold on a second here. Let's see how I did this. Did you guys know that there's one of the rights? This is the Declaration for Human Rights that Scientology uses and promotes as human rights. While, on the other hand, they are going around committing human rights abuses. So let's take a look at this one. Let's see. This one is the right to trial. You have a right to trial. So take a look at this. I want you to keep in mind what they're saying because we're going to talk about this after.
Next case, the People versus Martin White. Mr. White has been charged with guilty. Next case.
But Ronnie, you haven't heard the charges yet.
Guilty. Next case. Guilty. I've been prison. Guilty. Next case.
Remember, this is Scientology. You have the right to a trial. This is Scientology. You have the right to a trial. So I want you to look at this. There's a video recently, I think it was yesterday, that Aaron at Growing Up in Scientology did. And it was about Valerie Haney. If you're not familiar with Valerie Haney's story, she is someone who was born and raised in Scientology, was in the SEA organization, worked directly with David and Shelley Miscavige. She one day escaped from the Scientology base by getting into the trunk of someone who wasn't even a Scientologist. She then went on to bring a lawsuit against Scientologists. And then the judge was like, well, you know what? I mean, that sounds like religious arbitration is like the way to go. And Scientology is a religion, sort of, kind of, but they have tax exempt status. And I can't really say anything about it. So you go over there and do the religious arbitration with them to sort this stuff out. Even though you escaped in a car after being abused by these people, why don't you go back there and be locked in a room with some of the actual people who were in the room when it happened to you and let them arbitrate, right? No, not a trial. You're not getting a trial. So keep in mind what you just saw. Scientology saying everybody has a right to a trial. Well, apparently not Valerie Haney.
Trafficking lawsuits against David Miscavige, the leader of Scientology. Regular viewers of this channel will already be familiar with this case, but for you newcomers, did you know that a woman who worked for Scientology's leader, David Miscavige, and his wife, Shelley Miscavige, this is before she went missing, was banished to a secretive Scientology base, never to be seen by anyone who recognized her again. A woman named Valerie Haney, born and raised in Scientology, worked for Scientology's SEA organization since she was a young woman, maybe even a young girl. She worked directly for David and Shelley Miscavige. And she worked at Scientology's secretive international management base out in Riverside County, California. And one day she escaped from the base by hiding in the trunk of a car of a non-Scientologist who was visiting the base to film one of Scientology's.
So remember, she escapes from Scientology and then gets sent back to do religious arbitration with these people. You guys got to go watch this video, the full video with Aaron about this, because it's just horrific what they're putting her through and what is happening with this. And remember, Scientology themselves have just put out this whole PSA series. Maybe somebody needs to show Scientology their own PSAs. You have a right to trial? You do? Not unless you try to shut it down. Let's look at another one, because maybe I'm just not being fair. I could just not be being, maybe it's like out of context. So let's see. Let's look at another one. Which one should we look at? Let's look at, right to life, no slavery, no torture. You have rights no matter where you go. We are all equal before the law. Your human rights are protected. No unfair detainment. Ooh. No unfair detainment. People who were held in the hole at Scientology management by David Miscavige might have something to say about that one. The right to trial. We just looked at that one. Always innocent till proven guilty. The right to privacy, you say. Hold up. The right to privacy. Let's look at what Scientology has to say about the right to privacy. Hold on. That one's kind of long. Let's look at the short one.
These two guys came up to us. Hey, Dorcas. Oh, it's a letter. Read it. Read it. Read it. Read it. Read it. Read it.
Human rights? What? The right to privacy. So Scientology, if I'm hearing this correctly and seeing this correctly, and you guys tell me if I'm just misunderstanding it, says that you have the right to privacy. Well, there were some people who did not get the memo when Jenna Miscavige was on with Aaron on Growing Up in Scientology, talking about how their mail is gone through and read. Let's check it out.
And it actually happens, like when you receive a letter, even letters from other Sea Org members, mine would be opened. Now, maybe they didn't go to that trouble with everyone else, but if any letters came from outside family, they would be opened and read.
Oh, no, it was a rule. It was a rule. Any personal communications received had to be open. My bank statements would be opened. My credit card statements would be opened. It's funny because when L. Ron Hubbard first wrote that policy, it was to disincentivize people from getting personal mail at the org. But he wrote that policy before there was a Sea organization. But this is an example where Scientology behaves stupidly, even by its own principles. Like, they took a policy that existed before there was a Sea Org, and then they apply it to the Sea Org, even though, of course, a Sea Org member could never have any personal communication sent anywhere but the organization because they live at the organization.
Right. That's their address. Yeah. And
it's just absurd. But don't they have a right to privacy with their mail? In that video, link down below so you can see the whole thing. It's another one that's a really good one. Jenna talks about how letters from her parents. Remember, this is somebody who from a very young age, for years, barely saw her parents, but just a couple of times. And they would write her letters. And Marty Rathbun, who was the enforcer for Scientology for David Miscavige, would stand right there while she had to read them and then hand them back. Sea Org members, at some point, the Sea Org Scientology was like, oh, you know what? We can't just be opening people's mail without their permission. So let's have everybody sign off that we have permission to open their mail, to kind of get around that little loophole with the law. People don't know what they're signing. They don't. Blow drill. I was in HCO. Now, HCO is the Hubbard Communications Office. It's a division in Scientology that handles communications. I was in HCO and had to oversee the mail checks. It was explained in a manner that protected Scientology. Mail checks, going through the mail, checking what's in there. Is anybody getting money? Because if they're getting money, that's an external influence in Scientology. I want to do a video with somebody specifically about what are considered external influences in Scientology and the Sea Org and how they use that to justify the way that they isolate members, especially the Sea Org. So, right to privacy? I don't think so. Let's see. What else, Scientology? Let's just do another one here. Do they have, let's see. We got right to life, slavery, no torture. You have rights no matter where you go, equal before the law, right? We did that one. No unfair detainment. That's a good one to look at. Let's see. We did that one. The freedom to move. The freedom to move. We all have the right to go where we want in our own country and to travel as we wish. Okay, let's take a look at that. The freedom to move. Remember, these are PSAs being put out by Scientology. Keep that in mind.
Where would I go if the world had no limits? If I were free to move.
So, where would you go if you were free to move? So you have freedom of movement, says the Declaration of Human Rights, that Scientology just created a brand new website to share because they promote this. Well, I don't know. Let's hear from some people who are in the Sea Org once again, Jenna and Aaron there, and let's talk a little bit about this freedom of movement.
That was a big deal for me and Heather because her dad did get us a cheap car.
Hmm.
And it's always a red flag. You're like, oh my God. Let's be honest. It's only a red flag because they know, oh my God, now they can escape whenever they want.
Right, exactly. Yeah, Dallas had a truck as well. And same thing. They're always looking for the external influence. Because at the same time, it's like, okay, well, how are you paying for insurance or gas or whatever as a Sea Org member? Where are you getting this money from?
Right. It's interesting that an organization can be aware that a good percentage of their so-called clergy, if given the opportunity and the freedom to do so, would leave, would escape.
Right.
And instead of going, maybe there's something about the culture and the experience of being this organization that we should improve so that we don't have to worry about people wanting to escape all the time. That was a big deal.
Yeah. Maybe we should change something with within the organization so we can trust people to not run away, to not escape every chance they get, to have freedom of movement. How can you have freedom of movement in Scientology, especially in the Sea Org, when you're not allowed to freely move? You're not allowed to go to the store. You're not allowed to just go, you know what? I'm going to call in sick today. I'm going to take a mental health day. I'm going to take some me time. I've got some errands to run. Or, you know what? I'd like to go see my family. Maybe I'll go do that. I'll just hop in my car. Oh, wait, that's right. I don't have one because I can't afford it. And if you're lucky enough in the Sea organization to have one, they're all up your butt about how are you paying for insurance? How are you paying for this? How are you paying for that? Now you can get away. It's just crazy. But freedom of movement, Universal Declaration of Human Rights, maybe somebody should chalk that on a sidewalk. Some of these human rights based off their own PSAs that they're doing. You can move freely. Somebody should let security know. Get on that bike and go. Just pedal. Go. Get out of there. You have the freedom to do so. You're not being held against your will. You're not being held there. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights that Scientology shares says you're not. They promote that. They share that. Yeah, I agree. Sarcastic RN. Human right needs chalk tech. 100% it does. Let's see here. Susan, good question. How does one audit a 2-year-old? When babies and children are audited, often it's a lot of this, like just telling them to look at something. Look at that wall. Thank you. Sometimes it might be, oh, touch that table. Thank you. Touch that plant. Thank you. Just stuff like that is supposed to orient them to their present time environment. They're not doing anything on the e-meter or with the cans until later, till they can actually sit there and hold them with a child as young as 8 could even do. That's why they make the can so small. If you have an e-meter in Scientology, the cans that are attached come in different sizes, down to a very tiny size. Who do you think that's for? I'll give you one guess. All right, let's see. I don't understand that one, so we're going to skip that. Exiled New Yorker. If he's an outside security, he has to provide an ID number. No. So that was the person we saw when D.O.A. was talking to Scientology security that obviously did not seem like a Sea Org member. I don't know. That's actually a great question, though. That is. Thunder Age. Notice how, though, he's using D.O.A.'s name. Yeah, Scott. Not even Scotty. Just Scott. Scott, get off the road. You don't have freedom of movement. Get off the road. Early Riser says the security guard's behavior is creepy, but you didn't share D.O.A's foul and insulting language, which is awful. I cannot support his revenge tactics, foul language, and insulting their body parts. Yeah, and you don't have to too. That's the beauty of it, is you can watch a streamer you like, don't watch one you don't like. Sometimes even, I know for me, there are streamers who I like, and sometimes I don't like what they say or do, but that's their prerogative. That is, it's their choice. So like, I don't like a bunch of swearing in real life. I do. I swear like a sailor. I'm a total hypocrite about it in that way. Ask my children. But, here online, I choose not to do that because it will limit my audience in what we're talking about. I want it to be more open to people. But when you're a creator and you have a different channel, what you're doing, you have a choice on how you do that and how you do it. And that's just kind of how it works on YouTube, because there's no, you don't show up and go, you know what? I want to protest Scientology. I want to work with people who are doing things under the banner of SPTV. Good. Here, you want to copy a logo? Here, do your own thing. It's not an organized activity. There's not a book or rule book made to tell protesters how to protest. There are some best practices and a lot of advice out there and different ways that people are doing it. And I think people just kind of take, what works for them in it. Absolutely, it does. All right, let's see here. Oh, good one. Is it Marzi? Will they send Jennifer to retrain for not knowing the rules of the date? So I think you're talking about that Scientology closing down the street on the wrong day. No, I don't think they're going to send her they know what they're doing. They know it's the wrong day. They know it's too early. They don't care. They're just going to do it anyways, because that's what they are being ordered to do. And SEERG members believe falsely that they don't need to operate within the confines of the law or city ordinances and things like that. What's going to happen? Nothing, probably. And maybe they get a fine. What are they going to do? They're going to pay it. That is the thing. But I don't think she'd be retrained, because I don't think this was a mistake. They intentionally did it. Scientology does what they want. We saw them do it in Chicago. They totally misused and violated the permits there and got a little slap on the wrist, and we're told don't do that again. Well, they're not going to have another opening likely anytime soon in Chicago to that degree, where they would have to close down the streets like that. Let's see. Jean, question. Is it true that Big Blue is really filthy? Back in my day, I would say no, because the amount of cleaning that goes on in that place is crazy. Maybe not crazy, because I like a fair amount of cleaning, I got to tell you. But there are parts of it that are nasty, but that's usually what the Rehabilitation Project Force is sent to clean out those, what were they, like sewer traps, rat traps, kind of things down in the bowels of the building. But the buildings themselves are, at least when I was there, my experience was always that they were kept clean. We had white glove inspections in our rooms. We had to keep it clean. You couldn't have food out laying around. At least that's what I saw while I was there. There are places, though, outside of the blue buildings where families used to live that were absolutely disgusting. It was because the building was in such disrepair that nobody should even have been living there. So those were absolutely filthy. Today, I don't know what they look like. I don't know if they renovated all of them or some of them. I never lived in those buildings, but in the blue buildings, I can speak to that in my time, the common areas that I would see were kept clean. Wallflower, you see Laura admit she and D.O.A. are seeing each other? I did not. No, somebody send me a link, Natalie, lifeafteroccult.com. I did not. It's not something we generally cover here, anyways. Plus, I didn't know about it. Nobody sent me a link about it. And I saw her video, but I must not have saw that part. But yeah, if she did, that's awesome. Good for them. All right, let's see here. Yes, Walt, grease traps. That's what it was. I never saw them, but I've heard of these infamous grease traps in the blue buildings, and that they're nasty, and that it would be the Rehabilitation Project Force, the RPF, or the RPF's RPF, that would have to go ahead and do that. Some claim the dorm rooms are nasty. I don't doubt that some are, because here's the weird thing about it. You get white glove inspection, but you're really not given the proper cleaning supplies to use. Now, that may have changed. with COVID because they were so, worried about that they might have used other, now they have access to more cleaners. But the smell at times, the body odor, because in the Sea Org, you're not allowed to use any products with a scent. That goes for, you're not going to be using a candle. You're not going to be using a soap or a shampoo that has a scent. You're not going to be using cleaning products that have like a lavender or something like that. So often they would smell, and that was nasty. But in my day, we all had room inspection and they had to be cleaned up, but it doesn't mean that it didn't completely stink like feet and dirty underwear at times. In those dorms, there's no way around it when you have that many people living in a way that it's not meant to be. You're not meant to have people 3 bunks high like that, row after row after row. You're just not. It's going to be nasty. It is, right, Farah? It's so nasty. It is. It's so nasty. It is. Olivia, welcome to your first live chat. I love that. Thank you for being here. Right, Amy? So nasty. Everybody's like, that's so nasty. Vegas Andrews, no clean and fresh smell going on there. No, there's not. Smells like vinegar a lot too, because that's a big thing. Drinking that calcium magnesium drink with vinegar was a big thing in the Sea Org. Well, in Scientology. So you get that vinegar smell, which to be honest is better than other stuff. Okay, so let's see. I just want to make sure. Let's see. We're wrapping up, Nancy. Where are we rating? I know you already told me and I already forgot. I know we got rated. Oh, okay, good. Danny's impact. Sweet. So we're going to go. Oh, he is out there nice and early and really, let's check this out here. Everybody, before you head out, if you'd like, head over and we're going to raid Danny's impact. Please hit that like button and that subscribe button as well. And if you see something, say something. Please go ahead and send me an email with a link and a timestamp or a clip or a link to an article. Let me know what I'm looking at and then send it to Natalie at lifeafteroccult.com. I would absolutely love that. Sandy Lee, FYI, I showered and used soap. We appreciate that. We appreciate that here. We do. Okay, so let's see. Let's go look now. What's happening at Danny's? So Nancy put a link in the comments. If everybody could go give him a little aloha room raid, I would absolutely love it. I love when we can support other streamers and creators. Go over there, see what's happening. Showing some love. There's going to be a lot to watch because remember, today's the first day of Scientology and their kid event that they're trying to do to target children for Scientology. There's going to be a lot that I think is going to be happening that we're going to see today. So keep an eye on all of it and see something, say something. Natalie at lifeafteroccult.com. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you so much. And I hope you guys can get out today and have an amazing cult-free day.